FBI Director Christopher Wray appeared just a day or two ago at a hearing before Congress and was asked a question by Representative Clay Higgins, the Republican of Louisiana. Did the FBI have confidential human sources embedded within the January 6th protesters on January 6th of 2021? And Ray replies, as I'm sure you can appreciate, I have to be very careful about what I can say about when we do and do not and where we have and have not used confidential human sources. A non-answer. And Higgins then asked, did you have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters inside the Capitol on January 6th prior to the doors being opened? Now, this is an excellent and very precise question. Did you have confidential human sources, FBI informants, in other words, dressed as Trump supporters, so creating the impression that the Trump supporters are doing this inside the Capitol prior to the doors being opened? In other words, in a sense, was it the FBI pretending to be Trump supporters that opened the doors? This is a very, not only a good question, but a question that if the FBI is not involved, if they haven't orchestrated this, if they didn't open the doors with the intention of luring people inside the building, the simple answer should be no. And here's Ray. Again, I have to be very careful about what I can say. To which Higgins says, it should be a no. He continues, can you not tell the American people no, we did not have confidential human sources dressed as Trump supporters positioned inside the Capitol on January the 6th? And Ray replies, you should not read anything into my decision not to share information about confidential human sources. Now, this has sort of been the FBI's sort of gambit and game for a while. We're not going to be able to share information about our sources. You might remember that Ted Cruz in 2021 questioned FBI official Jill Sanborn. Pretty much the same series of questions. Did the FBI orchestrate January 6th? Was the FBI letting people in the building? Was the FBI driving the plot forward, one question upon another? And all she kept saying is, I can't say, I won't say. And so, but I think all of this is very revealing because we now have independent evidence that the FBI had and has infiltrated to a great extent groups like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys. We also have a legitimate question about Ray Epps. Was Ray Epps an FBI informant? And again, just simply for them to say we're not able to discuss the matter, think about these are the relevant questions about January 6th, not the sort of nonsensical pats taken by the January 6th committee. Did one staffer send an email to another staffer? This kind of nonsense, all trying to sort of implicate Trump. So they're looking in the wrong place. Here's the right place to look, which is to say, to what degree was this a government-run operation, really from start to finish, with some yahoos in the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers as the pawns of a manipulative deep state? That's the real question. And notice that the FBI is ducking the question, which doesn't surprise me because they are the deep state. Now, recently, last couple of days, an interesting article in the New York Times. Feds had informants in Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. This is Julie Kelly's summary of the article. But in the summary, Julie points out, she's drawing on the reporting of a guy named Alan Feuer at the New York Times, that the vice president of the Oath Keepers, Greg McWhirter, by the way, this guy's a former sheriff's deputy. He owns a tactical gun range and gun shop in Montana. He's been an FBI informant. And he was telling the FBI all about the group's activities in the weeks leading up to January 6th, all of which is another way of saying that the FBI knew the exact role to the degree it was pre-planned at all, and that's an open question, but to the degree it was pre-planned, the FBI knew what was going on with the Proud Boys and knew what was going on with the Oath Keepers. Now, by the way, these are portrayed by the left and by the FBI as like dangerous militia groups of the, sort of like a domestic homegrown ISIS. And so here's an interesting question. If this is a domestic ISIS, if they're planning all this nefarious sedition and insurrection, if the FBI was being told weeks before, why didn't they stop it before it occurred? And Mike Pence says, oh, my life was in danger. The Capitol was in danger. Congressmen and senators were in danger. The whole thing was very disturbing to democracy. Yeah, the FBI was in a complete position, first of all, to have nabbed these plotters beforehand and held them for questioning. January 6th would simply not have occurred. And so the question then becomes, why did it occur? Why did the FBI allow and perhaps even encourage the plot to go forward? Here's an interesting detail from the New York Times. This McWhorter guy not only works for the FBI, he encourages Oath Keepers to buy guns and ammunition from him. He offers all kinds of discounts before the 2020 election. It's almost as if the FBI put him up to it. Hey, listen, you know what? If we're going to have a plot and we're going to bust a plot, it'd be really nice to have some ammunition and guns involved. Why don't you sell these guys a bunch of your weapons and your ammunition? And that way we can grab them, nab them. Whoa, we got the ammunition. And so we will ultimately have busted a plot that we ourselves helped create.